help those who have suffered losses. Together, we can extend a helping hand to our fellow Ghanaians in need during this challenging time. Mr. Speaker, it is important to state at the outset that serving the Ghanaian people as president has been the greatest honor of my life. It has been one of great challenges and even greater triumphs, one that has demanded every ounce of my energy, commitment, and love for our beloved country. My vision has always been to see a Ghana that is self-reliant, prosperous, and united, a beacon of hope, democracy, and opportunity in Africa and beyond. That vision remains undimmed, and I'm confident that the strides we have made together will propel Ghana to even greater heights. Mr. Speaker, the first responsibility of a government is the safety and security of the state and its people. I'm happy to report that our country's territorial integrity is intact and all our borders are secure. In a neighborhood of widespread instability, it is no longer an assumption that we can make, but our land will be safe and secure. Ghana, by the grace of God, remains the only country in the neighborhood that has not fallen victim to terrorist violence. It has taken a lot of concerted effort, and dare I say a lot of money, to enable us to protect our country from the ravages of the variety of terrorist groups operating and destabilizing other countries in the neighborhood. I wish to pay great homage to the security services and their ministerial leaders for the work they do every day to keep us safe. Mr. Speaker, it gives me no great pleasure to state that an important and integral part of the fabric of our society and the hallmark of our traditions, chieftaincy, continues to be a source of insecurity and destabilization. Upon coming into office, we worked hard with considerable assistance from the Committee of Eminent Chiefs, Utumfo Asantehene, the Nairi, and the Yabara, to bring finally a resolution to the conflict which had blighted the ancient kingdom of Gabon for many, many years. Bringing peace to Gabon remains one of the high watermarks of my time in office, and I have been so looking forward to counting it with pride as the top of the list in resolving chieftaincy disputes and conflicts. Unfortunately, the sad situation in Boko must necessarily dampen any enthusiasm about the resolution of chieftaincy problems elsewhere. It is a matter of great regret and distress to me personally that in spite of our best efforts, the Boko conflict remains unresolved. Boko is unhappily not the only area of chieftaincy conflict. And judging from the experience of other parts of the country, I will have to mark chieftaincy as a growing source of insecurity that will continue to require a lot of attention. It is clear that part of that process is the need to strengthen the capacities of the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs and the Peace Council, the two frontline institutions responsible for dealing with chieftaincy and other disputes. Mr. Speaker, in my inaugural speech at my swearing in my first term on 7th January 2017, and early on in that term, I made a public commitment to tackle galamsey, the phenomenon that had been ravaging our environment and destroying our lands and water bodies in the pursuit of mining our gold. I knew and was very much aware that fighting galamsey was not a universally popular position for a president to take. But I felt strongly enough about the need to protect our environment to say I was prepared to put my presidency on the line in the defense of our lands and water bodies. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, the fight against galamsey led directly to the loss by my party of several parliamentary seats in the 2020 elections, and to the makeup of this eighth parliament, which affected the implementation of my policy agenda and impacted the second term of my presidency. I welcome the many loud converts to the fight against galamsey that suddenly appeared in the run-up to the 2024 elections. And I pray that more and more of us get to embrace the need for the protection of our lands and water bodies. As I have stated on numerous occasions, the fight against galamsey is not a fight against mining or the extraction of the gold the Almighty has so generously endowed us with. But we owe it to future generations of Ghanaians to extract our minerals in a manner that protects our lands and water bodies. I'm happy to be able to say that we have implemented some of the boldest and most progressive policies in the mining, forestry, and land sectors. As a result of these policies, we overtook South Africa as the leading producer of gold on the continent and have consistently increased gold production to reach an unprecedented 4 million ounces last year. Not only have we revamped dormant mines like the Obuasi and Bibiani mines, we have also worked to deliver the Cardinal Namdi mine, the first large-scale mine in northern Ghana, and the first greenfield gold mines in our country in more than a decade, with the ongoing construction of new mines in Ahafo by Newmont and Upper West by Azuma Resources. To add value to these volumes of minerals, we have constructed, through a public-private partnership, a 400-kilogram capacity gold refinery here in our country. We've also concluded discussions with the parent company of Ghana Manganese Company Limited for the construction of a $450 million United States dollars manganese refinery at Nsuta. Moreover, the establishment of the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation and the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation has laid the groundwork for the industrialization of many of our natural resources. These entities are expected to generate significant revenue, create jobs, and enhance the value addition of our natural wealth. Each of these initiatives was guided by the vision to harness Ghana's wealth for the benefit of her people, ensuring a legacy of sustainable development for future generations. We continue to work to increase the forest estate of our country. Under the Ghana Forest Plantation Strategy, some 121,000 hectares of degraded forests were cultivated between 2017 and 2023. And under the Green Ghana Project, over 52 million trees have been planted in just 4 years of its implementation. In 2023, Ghana became the second country in Africa and the third in the world to receive results-based payments from the World Bank Carbon Fund for reducing emissions. Under the Ghana Cocoa Red Plus program, we have also completed all the necessary steps under the voluntary partnership agreement with the European Union. And effective June this year, Ghana will become the first African country and the second globally to issue forest law enforcement, government, and trade licenses. If arguments still rage over what there is to show for the fight against galamsey and the effects of irresponsible mining, there can be no such arguments about the introduction of the free SHS and free TVET programs. Another policy that did not have universal approval when I sought to introduce it on coming into office. However, I believe this is one of the rare occasions on which we can use the word transformational without any danger of abusing the word. We have transformed education, and there can never be a reversal, of the fact that some 5.7 million young people have gained access to secondary education who would otherwise not have had the opportunity, but for free SHS and free TVET. Indeed, my administration has also prioritized technical and vocational education and training, TVET, establishing 34 new TVET institutions and upgrading 62 existing ones to equip our youth with 21st century skills. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud that we were brave enough. Ghana has consistently recorded over 50% of candidates scoring A1 to C6 in all 4 core subjects. This marks a stark improvement compared to the years prior, particularly the period in core subjects were largely below 50%. This year's results, the 2024 results, have maintained the laudable trend from 2020. Indeed, only 51.6% of candidates achieved A1 to C6 in English in 2016, 54.55% in 2016 to 71.53% in 2024. Moreover, the 2023 WACC results stand out as the best in the history of the examination. No amount of shouts will displace data. It will not happen. The data is there. As the best in the history of the examination, with record-breaking performances across all core subjects. It is obvious then that our reforms have not only expanded access, but have also enhanced the quality of education. I am glad that we have led to where they properly belong, and that they will no longer be seen as the option for those who cannot make the top grade. We have embarked on the development of 20 STEM centers and 10 model STEM senior high schools across the nation, and also constructed 186 new science laboratories nationwide. The other day, I commissioned the Accra STEM Academy, which is destined to play a key role in the future of STEM education in our country. These institutions are designed to provide hands-on learning experiences with cutting-edge facilities. From coding to robotics, our students are being prepared for the demands of the 21st century. It has not been without challenges, but the results are evident. I'm delighted with the infrastructure transformation that has taken place on our school and university campuses. This was displayed in a dramatic fashion a few weeks ago when the Ministry of Education staged the simultaneous commissioning of 80 new educational facilities across the nation. I do not suggest that we have finished what we set out to do, but we have certainly established what a kindergarten is supposed to be like. We've established what a primary school should be like. We've set standards for what constitutes a JHS. Science laboratories are now integral parts of junior and senior high schools, and computer tablets are available for all school children. Mr. Speaker, now we know and accept that a public school building can be painted in beautiful and attractive colors. Mr. Speaker, we have aimed to make the learning and teaching atmosphere a happy one for all school children and their teachers. We spend a lot of resources on education in the past 8 years, And I'm persuaded that it is money well spent, and the long-lasting benefits for our society will provide the justification for the expenditure. Mr. Speaker, it is impossible to make any meaningful accounting of my time in office without reference to the COVID pandemic. With the passage of time, it is easy to play down the extent of the catastrophe that brought our world to a thundering halt and brought wild animals to lounge on highways. Do we remember that airports around the world were closed, and some 2 years after the formal end of the pandemic, worldwide shipping and cargo freight have not returned to normal? Schools were closed around the world, and it took courage to reopen our schools. And there are parts of the world that have not yet made up for the closure of schools necessitated by the pandemic. Probably, Mr. Speaker, the most poignant aspect of those times was not the fear that gripped us all, but the fact that we were unable to hold hands or hug each other, and we could not have funerals for our dead. It is worth emphasizing the point that with the help of the Ghanaian people and the guidance of the Almighty, we managed the pandemic in our country to the admiration of the whole world. Indeed, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ghana emerged as a leader in Africa, managing the crisis with a balanced approach that prioritized lives and livelihoods. We were among the first countries on the continent to secure vaccines and roll out a comprehensive vaccination program. The establishment of our own vaccine manufacturing facility under the supervision of the National Vaccine Institute, a body created by Act of Parliament in collaboration with international partners, is a testament to our resolve to build resilience in our healthcare system. In the spirit of transparency and accountability, a parliamentary audit was conducted on the accounts relating to COVID-19 expenditures, reflecting my government's attachment to accountability and the effective stewardship of public resources during a time of crisis. However, the consequences of the COVID-19 upheavals on all aspects of our lives have gone way beyond what anyone could have imagined, and we're still dealing with the effects on the economy. But let me first deal briefly with the effects on the health sector. This pandemic showed us some of the alarming shortcomings of our health delivery system, and we have strived to seek remedies to ensure that we're reasonably prepared to meet the next emergencies. The most important intervention is the Agenda 111 project we have embarked upon that aims to place a hospital in every district. Out of the 101 district hospitals and 2 psychiatric hospitals on the project list, there are 99 district and 2 psychiatric hospitals where contractors are deployed and work is in progress. I'd hoped that construction will be completed on all of them, but that, alas, was not to be. I'm pleased to report that on December 5th, I had the utmost pleasure to commission 3 of the district hospitals. Progress of works on the other 98 active sites range from 5% for sites whose work commenced recently to 95% at other sites. I'm hoping that the incoming Mahama administration will ensure that the project is completed to put our health infrastructure on a sound footing. Furthermore, we launched the National Ambulance Services Revitalization Program, increasing the number of ambulances from 55 barely functioning ambulances to over 300, ensuring timely emergency response and saving countless lives. The strides in healthcare reflect our collective commitment to build a system that prioritizes the dignity, health, and well-being of every Ghanaian. Furthermore, we've revived the National Health Insurance Scheme, which at one point before I came into office appeared to be reverting to the days of cash and carry. The number of subscribers has risen from 10.6 million in 2016 to 17.9 million at the end of 2023. With the renewal of subscriptions being facilitated by a tap on the mobile phone and the scope of the scheme being broadened to include treatment for sickle cell disease, kidney dialysis, and childhood cancers. Mr. Speaker, our economy took a bigger hit from the COVID-19 pandemic and the ensuing consequences than had been anticipated. And in 2021 and 2022, we were in unaccustomed trouble. Our economy, which in my first term had been widely acknowledged to have performed creditably, marked by the longest period of single-digit inflation, 7% average GDP real growth rate, and strong external balances, was on its knees. The government's difficulties in parliament, with the slimmest of majorities, gave the impetus to the international rating agencies to trash us on their assumption that we would struggle to get financial policy measures passed through the legislature. We faced the problems we encountered with equanimity, took a deep breath, and decided to apply for an IMF-supported program, dubbed Post-COVID-19 Program for Economic Growth, PCPEG, in the middle of 2023.